Hey everybody, today we're talking about Batman Fortress. Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets. As always, I'm your host, Brent and today we're talking about Batman Fortress. This is a mini-series that came out 3 years ago or so. I was looking at when I did my overview of it, and I was like, oh man, this is 2 years old. I should actually read this again. It's written by Gary Whitta, and it's got art by Derek Robertson. Unlike some miniseries, Derek Robertson, he does all of the art. There's no fill-ins or anything like that, which I really, really liked. It's a standalone miniseries. You don't have to know a bunch of DC continuity, although it is kind of set in modern DC continuity in that we're using modern characters like Emiko from Green Arrow. I don't think she's Red Arrow in this book. They call her Emiko. She is Green Arrow's sister, right? And then you also have Aqualad, Jackson Harper, running around with Batman and Lex Luthor, and a new Green Lantern. His name is Dale. That's the squirrel character, basically. Anyways, this is a fun book. I like this. I think the ending is a little wonky, but overall, this is 8 issues of fun. Gary Whitta, if you don't know, he wrote the Book of Eli, that movie, and he also helped write or co-wrote, whatever. He's got a writing credit on Star Wars Rogue One and contributed a lot to that film. So those are his 2 big credits. He's done a lot of stuff with video games, Walking Dead. He does podcasts with the Kind of Funny crew, so you may recognize him from there. He wears his politics on his sleeve, and that's apparent here in Batman, because you have Lex Luthor, who's president in this book, saying, like, I'm a Republican, I don't care about people. So, and then he's like, just joking, am I not? So if that kind of stuff turns you off immediately, then maybe don't read this book, but it's definitely a book where you everybody's politics are laid bare in terms of how Gary Whitta is interpreting these characters. And to me, that was fine. It's a very humorous book, and I think that works well with Derek Robertson's style. If you've read The Boys, you know he loves to do this really dark and kind of grimy atmosphere, but it's got a sly smile to it. And that's how Gary writes for Derek Robertson, which is really cool. And Derek Robertson's art in here is really good. I really enjoyed reading every single panel of this book. Like, it's a gorgeously drawn comic book. There is a lot of darkness to it, so I think the downside, at least for my copy here with this matte paper, which is the hardcover, I'm sure the soft cover is a similar type paper. The black seems to just absorb into the page. So even some of these darker colors or these darker washed backgrounds, like we have Batman talking to Detective Chimp, and it just looks like a solid black background except for the bottom. And even though I know it's more like a gradient from black to this blue color, that happens a lot in this book on this paper. I think would be the only downside, since Derek Robertson has such a heavy inking style and the colors are so dark. It's mostly set at night. I feel like sometimes some things can get lost in the paper, but it doesn't really distract from the story or anything like that. Hell, even their assault on the Fortress of Solitude is set at night, and it's dark as hell in the Fortress of Solitude, I will say that. So what is this book about? Batman Fortress, right? Basically, you get all these things on the cover saying, like, where's Superman? Where's Superman? And the idea is the Earth is attacked, as you find out in the first issue. There's like a global blackout, and Batman's trying to figure out, what's going on? How is this happening? Where's Superman? Because normally he is the first one on the JLA communicator to communicate with everybody and coordinate a response. So instead of all that happening, Batman has to step up in issue 2 and coordinate that response. It goes awfully, as one would expect, in an 8-issue comic book series with a battle against the aliens in issue 2. And then Batman sets out to find the only man who he thinks can help him stop this alien incursion, and that is Superman. So the majority of the book is either about finding Superman or, finally they're like, you know what? If we can't find Kal-El, we're going to go to his Fortress of Solitude, steal some Kryptonian tech, use it against the aliens, and then return it. So Batman has to break into the Fortress of Solitude to get the Kryptonian tech and that's basically what the majority of the plot of the book is about, even though it doesn't happen until issue 6. Like 6 and 7 are the break-in of the Fortress of Solitude, and everything leading up until then is Batman figuring out what the problem is, who's behind it, how he thinks he can solve it, and trying again, and then assembling a team to go and break into the Fortress of Solitude. So in that way, it's structured really well, honestly, because I think 8 issues of trying to break into the fortress would have been pretty boring. But it's got some beautiful spreads. I think there's only like one double-page spread in this book, but it's got some awesome panels and some awesome colors here. I got to mention also. The colorist is just phenomenal for Derek Robertson. Diego Rodriguez, there you go. But yeah, just some awesome scenes here. It's not holding anything back, and like this is the power of comics. Like I don't think you would get a movie like this. You have this awesome battle scene with the aliens right in the second issue. Aquaman and the Flash and Wonder Woman all getting taken out by these aliens. You got Hawkman in here, and just everything going wrong really quickly, and then spending majority of the movie trying to find something to battle these aliens with. There's Jackson Hyde right there. So really, really fun book. I enjoyed it. I did say the ending was a little wonky, mainly because of how they solved the problem with the alien incursion. It turns out the aliens are, searching for Kal-El, all Kryptonians, for reasons, and there's some like workaround they have to have them be satisfied with their quest, basically. And then it ends really wonky, and it feels like you're leaving this open for a sequel, or maybe you thought of this at the end of the writing period and we're like, you know what, let's really turn the table on the readers' heads in 3 pages, no less, and really leave them with what we think is a whopper of an ending. It feels unearned, and I think the storytelling on that, there is like a final splash page, but the page before it here is just it's just exposition dump of what is the actual ending is going to be, like a setup, and then there's a reveal at the end of it, and you're like, huh, interesting. So I think that's my one complaint, is I could have done with a few more pages of all that process to get to that ending, the transformation and all these different things, and instead of having just this whopper dropped on you on the final page of like, oh, there you go. Because there's also these questions left hanging of, Bruce is talking about how Clark since he wasn't human, he wasn't interfering in human history. And Bruce is like, I was human or am human, and I'm going to interfere. So I feel like that might have been the sequel, Batman Fortress Earth or something like that, or Castle, where he builds the castle around the Earth with his vision of how humanity and society would be. Maybe that is coming out. I don't know. It's kind of more like I would equate that ending to all of Dune, book 1, where what's his name is becoming the Kwisatz Haderach, what's the kid's name? Paul is becoming the Kwisatz Haderach, and he gets all this power, and then you realize he's Space Hitler. I feel like this ending's kind of like that in terms of, but just get that in like 2 pages, and you're just like, wait, what? It comes out of nowhere, so without giving it away, it's hard to explain, but I think the issues leading up to that were all really, really good, beautifully drawn. So it doesn't get my strongest recommendation, Batman Fortress, but it is a fun Batman tale. So if you're looking for something new, something that you haven't read before, something that doesn't really matter, check out Batman Fortress. It's a fun little ride. So those are my thoughts on Batman Fortress. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. We'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.